to the famous Jawas series, where we will tell you about the lives of some very famous Jawas within the Jawa community. In this episode we will be showing the redemption of a Jawa called Jarili Toom. Jarili was born on Tatooine, in the same Jawa clan as Bliss. When he was a child he was already notorious as a bully amongst the other Jawa children. Bliss in particular was a common target for Jarili's bullying. Eventually, a travelling salvager by the name of Slamstriver visited the clan to offer Jawas work as ferrets on exotic salvage missions. Jarili, alongside Bliss, accepted his job offer. Slamstriver took the Jawas to the planet Hoth, where they would work for the White War pirates, salvaging and scavenging the many shipwrecks in the starship graveyard. During their time on Hoth, Jarili's uncle visited the Jawas to deliver knitted sweaters from their mothers. Tell me, Milok, what was Jarili like when he was working on Hoth?
I'll tell you, I was on Hoth for a while with the young ferrets. By that first jamming, the wind could have cut you in two. Fierce it was. And now I don't mind a bit of breeze. If anything, I prefer it. But the wind on Hoth was aggressive. And as I says to myself, says I, Milok, this is no day for a do. And as it turns out, when Jarili arrived, and as I say, by this stage the wind was fierce. I've never heard any wind like it. Howled like a great dragon it was. So the poor kid Jarili, he arrives anyway, and is no sooner out of the speeder than he's lifted up in the air like a paper doll and blown into a pile of snow.
Right. On Hoth, Jarili continued to be a bully towards Bliss. Jarili has provided us with some drawings illustrating in which ways he used to bully Bliss. Those are some amazing artworks, Jarili. Jarili took it too far, however, when he told their foreman that Bliss had been stealing salvage under his coat. Bliss was kicked out of the salvage crew, and Jarili took all of Bliss's belongings. Bliss, however, returned to Hoth with new allies and tracked down Jarili to take back his things, and he also beat up Jarili. Some years later, Bliss returned to Hoth and formed his own Jawa salvage crew. Bliss forgave Jarili for past events and allowed Jarili to join his crew. Eventually, Bliss and his crew joined the alliance in the fight against Zagul. After the war with Zagul was over, Jarili returned to Tatooine. Regretting his past as a bully, Jarili started to notice there were many mean people treating Jawas badly. He witnessed Jawas getting bullied and harassed by Ugnaughts and other non-Jawas, and he even witnessed some monstrous people harming Jawas. Jarili decided to go online on the Holonet to speak out about all the abuse he witnessed. But instead he was very shocked to see people making very hateful and Jawa-phobic comments. He saw so many lies spread about Jawas, and he even saw some weirdos making comments about eating Jawas. Jarili became furious. He thought to himself that someone should fight against all this hatred towards Jawas, so he decided to start an organization to not only fight against the harassment and bullying of Jawas, but he can also spring into action to defend Jawas from bullies. He named his organization JUA, Jawas United Against Hate. If a Jawa or Jarman is being harassed, bullied or attacked, they can quickly call the JUA hotline and then Jarili will deploy and protect them. But he knew he could not do this alone, so he hired 2 more Jawas to help him out. His uncle Milok to answer phone calls from Jawas in trouble, and an old friend from his school years, Braz, to help him out. Braz is a Jawa known to freelance as a hacker, selling his services of gathering and decrypting information to anyone willing to pay him scrap. Together with Braz, he made a website to promote his organization, and they also started a petition to get BioWare to remove that awful heroic mission called Jawa Trade and that terrible "that's just wrong" achievement from the game. Jarili's own uncle, Milok, was a victim of Jawar harassment. Go ahead and tell us what happened to you.
There was a knock at the door. It must have been hour talking 8:30, for I was halfway through me dinner. I got up to open it, and there they both were, large as life. The taller fella, though, to be fair, I think there was no more than an inch in it. The slightly taller fella, he says to me, says he, "Do you know who we are?" And I says to him, says I, "Well, I can't be sure now, but maybe if you took off the masks." And he says to me, the slightly taller fella does, he says, "Step aside, we are armed." And that's when the smaller fella, although as I say, we're talking an inch, maybe an inch and a half at most, he has the bright idea of tying me to the scrap furnace, you see. And I remember saying to myself, says I, "Milok, it's a good job you didn't turn on your furnace to melt some scrap today, or you'd be roasted here." And there I am, shackled to the scrap furnace, when one of them, the smaller fella, or hang on, yeah, no, maybe it was the taller one. Well, it was one of the two. And he's looking for the keys to my speeder, all ranting and raving and getting himself all worked up.
And they stole your speeder. Thank you for the interview. Bye. Jarili and Braz tracked down Uncle Milok's stolen speeder, or well, what was left of it. They found the wreckage of Uncle Milok's speeder at the bottom of one of the canyons south of Angkor Head. Sadly, the perpetrators were never apprehended.
Karuza suga baknovo, ubalare duki ya buja, kilya kapisa jibinlu, ango tonton.
Jarili has invited us to join them as they keep watch for any Jawas in need of help. So, Jarili, what do we do now?
Ayita babatoy pa.
Right.
Two hours later.
So nothing has happened yet. I think it's time that we...
Hongo do bongo lu, hatni du kisaji, holu kuta.
Oh my...
Kabaje olwa kusya punyo. お手に
アグノオトのいじめっ子たちを止めなきゃ。超サイヤ人ジャワパワー発動。年配のジャワが道路を横断しているのを見てください。
ありがとう、ジャワヒーロー。
ジャワのことは放っておけよ、汚い豚目。立ち去って二度とジャワをいじめないでください。
Chichawon, kabaje olwa kusya punyo. Kodva kinizibe liwe nezin wala ze kandaleno.
We wish Jarili and his organization a lot of success in protecting Jawas. If you wish to aid Jarili in his efforts, you can donate scrap to his Go Scrap Me fundraiser campaign. In the next episode of Famous Jawas, we will tell you the sad story of a missing Jawa shaman. Until next time.
I'll tell you, there was a knock at the door. It must have been hour talking 8:30, for I was halfway through me dinner. I got up to open it, and there they both were, large as life. The taller fella, though, to be fair, I think there was no more than an inch in it. Slightly taller, he says to me, says he, "Do you know who we are?" And I says to him, says I, "Well, I can't be sure now, but maybe if you took off the masks." He says to me, slightly taller fella does, he says, "Step aside, we are armed." That's when the smaller fella, although as I say,